Hi guys, I'm James McIntosh and today I'm joined with Football Operations Manager Mark Summerhill for a catch up on everything about the new season. Should be a really cool episode. And Mark, you're at training today and is everything starting to feel a bit more real now ahead of the new season?
Yeah, definitely. You can really feel the excitement, the atmosphere is all ramping up now. We've just done a really good, or Joe's just led a really good analysis session. Looking a little bit at Frome, looking a little bit at what we've done over the course of pre-season, and just it all feels like we are. Well, it doesn't feel like it. We are absolutely building for Saturday now, and when the pressure starts and there's points to play for. So yeah, we're all really looking forward to it, and yeah, definitely gearing up for Saturday.
Well, we'll talk a bit about Frome later in the episode, but I just want to have a quick look over pre-season as a whole. And I remember the last time I spoke to you, so last month, just before the pre-season games got underway, you said it was a real good opportunity to test the boys, see what they would like, test all the new tactics. And do you feel like you and the boys have got everything out this pre-season campaign?
Yeah, I think we had a really, really good, a good balanced campaign where we started off at Petersfield. It's always nice to go back to Petersfield for obvious reasons. But, that gives us a nice opportunity as a first game. We then went to Badshot, which I thought, was a really good test from a team in the league below who like to play as well on quite a good surface. Obviously, then we had the Portsmouth game, and I don't need to name them all, but Bournemouth and Salisbury, Portsmouth, Bournemouth, Salisbury, three really tough pre-seasons game, which we came through those really well. I mean, like I've said before, and just repeat myself really, there's certain pre-season games we're going to be looking at in possession stuff, which is quite obvious. Games we're going to have more of the ball in. The games we're not going to have so much of the ball, we look at the out possession stuff, and then there's games where we're looking at the whole piece. And you sort of build up to that final friendly like we did, which was Salisbury on Saturday, and it's the oldest sort of cliche in that results aren't important pre-season, but to build up to a win away at Salisbury on a Saturday in your last game, bearing in mind our last trip to Salisbury, was a really, really good, pleasing way to finish pre-season. We go into now the first week of the season, full of confidence for that first game on Saturday. So I think a really good balanced pre-season, but I've written it in my program notes already. One pre-season that I'm definitely putting it in a successful box.
And then you said it a bit about in that point already, but I would have said the first two games in particularly, we used two squads, didn't we? So one for the first half, one for the second half. And I felt after Portsmouth, like I said, we started using that one squad, and it felt like the run of teams we started playing. So you said Salisbury there, Horsham, another really good team on paper that we got to play. Felt like it was a good run of teams that we got to play towards the end of stages of pre-season. And did that give us a really good run where you guys could test particularly just about first teams? You could see who you wanted to get in the first team as opposed to the first couple games where you just wanted to use it as fitness almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important that you don't overload. I mean, people don't have a lot of sympathy for footballers. I know that, particularly the ones at the top level. But remember, our guys are still all working and doing full-time jobs as well. So what we can't do is the guys train really hard. Pat and Joe, I've spoke about their training sessions before. So what we can't do is overload players early on because you're going to get injuries. I see a lot of social media about teams playing pre-season games like the cup finals and first team squads. So we take large squads of people. We try not to give them more than 45 minutes. Some end up having 60 naturally, and you just build those minutes during pre-season. And that's sort of twofold. Yes, you're building. You need to give people more minutes, which means more game time, which means your squad narrows down. And obviously your squad narrows down as we're working out, who's someone we need to look more at, who's someone we've probably seen enough of, and who are we definitely going to use when the season starts. So we definitely it's all done to build up. Like I said a minute ago, it's all done to build up to that last one, which is Salisbury, then the first league game. But it was some really good fiction. I personally enjoyed the Portsmouth one. I think we're always going to enjoy that one. And the Bournemouth one for me was really good as well, to get a Bournemouth side up here. Yes, it was young, but could they play? Well, they could really play, and they were really aggressive as well. A really good aggressive press, which was a fantastic test. So it was all part of that. Pre-season is not just thrown together. Pre-season is planned meticulously to give the right games at the right times, and I could be eating humble pie on Saturday when if it all goes horribly wrong. But you have to celebrate success when you get things right. You don't just review things when you get things wrong. And I think we've got pre-season right this year. So yeah, really pleased with it.
And you said about testing players there, and another thing that I think went really well in pre-season was giving some of the younger players some more game time, and it probably gave you and the manager like a good glimpse of what could come and how they could be integrated into the first team. So I remember Henry Searle, he started a fair few games. Now he's gone on loan to Clanfield. Troy Wingfield, I thought he played excellent in pre-season, and like I said, that Pompey game, he really made the goal. He got the free kick in the end, so he's been excellent as well. But getting these young players in, is it about trying to see if they're good enough for the first team now? Or is it trying to get them loans to bigger teams like Clanfield and Fareham, just trying to get them this men's football?
Well, it's a bit of both, really. It's a perfect time to test them in the senior environment. It's a great sort of blood in for them, for want of better words. And Kean was at Clanfield last season, was a standout player at Clanfield in Wessex 1. So we've got him move into the Wessex Premier League this year at Petersfield. So that's real good progression for him. Some of the others that didn't have Wessex clubs last year have gone out to Wessex club. Henry, for example, who's gone out to Clanfield. We've got Troy gone to Fareham. So the under 18s is strong. I've spoke about it before. I think they're a really good under 18 side. So pre-season's a fantastic time to use them, to look at them, just see how they're developing, then get them their moves, and then we can keep really close tabs. All the clubs they've gone out to, we've got close links with, so we'll get good reports back. And I think that's reserve team football is pretty much non-existent now for those of us old enough to remember what good reserve team football was like. So the Wessex League, Wessex 1, then stepping up to Wessex Premier is a really good test for our under 18s. They're young lads playing serious senior football. So I think we were doing absolutely the right thing by getting our sort of, the stronger ones out to Wessex clubs, and plenty of them. When we come to Portsmouth Senior Cup and other local cups, you'll get to see loads more blended in with the first team. So I think youth team wise, we're in a really strong position, and we've put them all on first team forms. One of the changes this year is we can actually use 5 subs, not just take 5 subs. So the fact we can use 5 subs, we will need to fill that bench week in, week out. So expect to see some of the 18s on the bench during the season.
And I'm sure many of them will be giving you nice headaches in the coming months. And another person who I think will be giving you a good headache is Callum Smart. So this goalkeeping debate between Max Evans and Callum Smart, I think it could be really interesting going into the new season, because both goalkeepers, they've just been brilliant during pre-season. And honestly, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to pick which one starts.
Well, we've got 2 really good goalkeepers, which all squad needs. We've also got a couple of younger ones in the background as well. So we've probably got 4 that we work with regularly. Max has come with a suspension, so that is, that's tricky. He's gone through pre-season, not available for the first game. Cal will be playing the first game. We are incredibly lucky to have Cal, who is an exceptional goalkeeper. We've got a co-sign lined up for Cal at some stage when whatever happens Saturday, and whatever happens the Saturday after. But we can't hide from the fact that we brought Max in from Poole with Southern Premier League experience, and Cal was out on co-sign last year at Thatcham, so got a really good season's experience at Step 4. So we've got 2 really, really good goalkeepers, and I guess watch this space when we see what happens in the first 2 games.
And then some of the new signings have come in have also looked really good. So Ashley Yearwood in particular, I think he's really set the world alight. And have you been surprised with how good some of these new signings have been?
Well, pleasantly, no, I haven't been surprised because, like I said before, Ashley was someone we tried to get a couple of times last year but couldn't. All the lads really that we tried to get at the end of last season. So the lads that we all knew really that they were targets that we wanted. AO was probably one we wanted, but that sort of came a bit later on. He terrorised us last year. Anyone that came to Hayes and Yedden away, AO absolutely terrorised Corey Jordan down the right hand side, and there wasn't many people that did that last season. So no, I'm not surprised at all how well they've settled. It's a good group. It's a good group. So I'm not surprised at all. How they've settled.
Well, I was going to say another person who I think has really, well, personally for me, shocked a lot of people is Paul Agbesi, the defender. So Paul, I was speaking to him about Pat, like at the Pompey game. So I didn't really know anything about him before, well, we signed him. But I remember saying jokingly we should sign him, and then Pat said he's got a brilliant link with him already from the Petersfield game because he obviously used to manage Paul. But I feel like a lot of these players they resemble some of the players we had last season. So like Alex Barca, I know he shocked a lot of people, and like I know a lot of these fans they think it's hard for players to make this jump from Wessex League to Southern Premier League. And do you think a lot of these players do definitely have the caliber to make this jump, even though they have played lower league football beforehand?
Well, I think Wessex One to Wessex Premier League is quite a big jump. I think the teams at the top of Wessex One will probably settle in quite nicely in the sort of bottom half, mid-table of Wessex Premier League. I think the top teams in the Wessex Premier League would settle in quite nicely into Step 3, and the top teams, in Step 3 should really sort of settle into Step 4. I think if there's a big jump between the Wessex League and being a top Step 3 club, not being arrogant, but our where we finished last year would tell you we are a top Step 3 club, and I think there's probably a big gap. Having said that, Alex Barca came out of Step 6 football straight into Step 3, and now has joined a professional club in the Czech League and is playing professionally. So the answer is yes, people can make the jump. I think they're probably the exception rather than the rule. But can they make the jump? Yes. It's just about getting the right moves at the right time, and the guys have got to want to be patient. Let's think back to Rafa. Rafa came out of, although he'd played a bit of Southern League football, but the season before was playing Wessex Prem football. And then got a move here and didn't make the squad every week, but he persevered, stuck with it, trained, was a really good example. Got in our team as an absolute regular sort of from halfway onwards, and then has now ended up in National League South. So people can make the jump. Yeah, I guess the answer is yes, people can, but they've got to be patient.
Well, definitely that. And I think a lot of these new signings will definitely show that. And another thing I've found really interesting about the new signings is, I can use our new signing, Richard McIntyre, as an example. He's obviously a left back and can play left centre back, but we have Rory there already. And it looks like for every position we have on the pitch this season, we've also got another good player in that position. And squad depth wise, I would say it's looking really nicely. And last season, we did sustain a few serious injuries, and that could have cost us. And it maybe did cost us in the playoffs and the final few league games. But this season we do have that squad depth, and how important could that be? And has this been one of the ways you've been looking at bringing in new players, trying to like just fill out the squad so you've got a good player in each position? Well, more than good one player.
Yeah, I mean, Rich in particular is a really good example of that because obviously he's at Oxford. So that's a really good loan for us. But another lad who played at for Salisbury last year ended up winning promotion. So he ticks two boxes. But yeah, to have two players in every position is something we've definitely looked to do. We didn't have that last year at all. Had Dutchie sustained an injury last season, we'd have been really short in midfield. So in come Asher, in come Cam, in comes Rich. I think we've strengthened probably all areas really. And yeah, we were, when I looked at it on paper last season, when it got towards the competitive end, we were light in squad depth. There's no two way about it. So yeah, we've looked to do is increase quality. We haven't actually increased the number, believe it or not. But what I think we have done is increased the quality in that number. Yeah, I think we're more than happy with squad depth and covering every position. We're going into the first league game. We've got 2 or 3 suspensions hanging over us from last year. I'm not going to talk about who they are. It would be unwise to give that away. And we've also got an injury to a first team squad member as well. So, but when you look at what we're going to put out there Saturday, that's strong. So that tells you that the depth is better already.
Well, I was going to say, like you said, you really summed it up nicely in my next question there, because I was going to say, you it's almost like we've got a model this season where we're focusing on quality players rather than just splashing the cash. And I think it's really good for a club like Gosport to be, we're using a more sustainable model, I would say. And compared to other teams, so I'm going to use Hampton Waterloo as a good example. They spent a lot of money last season and it didn't go well. Whereas this season, we're using a model where it's going to be better for the future. So we're just not constantly splashing the cash, like I said. And could you explain this model to the Borough fans and how important it's going to be going into the future?
I think it's just responsible management, James, of the football club from all levels, whether that be the chairman, whether that be myself, whether that be Pat and Joe. I mentioned it in my programme notes actually, but managers and staff and players pass through football clubs. Supporters don't. Supporters support a club for life. And yes, we could have thrown stupid money at it this season to try and go one better than last season. And would that be the right thing to do? Some people celebrating at the end of it, if we were promoted, would probably say yes. However, then if people moved on, that is not leaving a sustainable model. Let's be really honest also, we're not a sustainable model at the moment. There's one person that funds a big chunk of it, the lion's share of it. But we are working to do that. We're working on a more sustainable budget this year. So to bring the quality in we have with what the parameters we're working in is really good. But what we all should strive for, as much as we want success on the pitch, and with Pat and Joe, you do get a very professional model with staff, etc., physio, strength and conditioning, and the array of coaches we've got here. It's all done with it, and keep you can throw the word sustainable about until you blue in the face, but we actually mean it. It's a bit we are moving to a more sustainable model, which the people of Gosport will have a football club here for a lot longer, rather than other clubs. There's plenty of examples, whether it be Bury or other clubs. Well, look what's happened at Portsmouth in recent years. And the chairman's got first-hand experience of that from going into the model that was after the Portsmouth debacle. So there's enough lessons around us of where people have just thrown money at things, and then that is a very, very short-term solution. So I think the Gosport fans should be really, they deserve a decent football club. I think we gave them that last season. But I think they should be sort of thankful that we're managing with, we're managing for today, we're managing for tomorrow, and we're also managing for the future, which is the responsible thing to do.
Well, it's definitely going to help the club going forward, so I think it's really useful. But pointing some of the fingers that have spent a lot of money, I think Tottenham, they've spent a fair bit of money, obviously bringing in Charlie Austin, and then looking like as some of the teams have been relegated and promoted. So Frome, I think they could be a good team next season. Haven't and Waterloo, they've come down and they have a really good team. Obviously, they were expected to get promotion, obviously in this league now, so I think they'd be tipped to get promotion again this season. But this season, does Gosport have the calibre to try and aim for that promotion again and even challenge for the title?
Well, absolutely. Like we said, we've got the quality to do it. We've kept a large number of last year's squad that was successful. We've added to that. I think we've added real strength to that. Having Havant in the league, who are a full-time club, and having teams come down from National South, who I believe are remaining sort of full-time status, and one or two other clubs looking to go full-time, that's going to be incredibly tough to compete with. But I always remember when Corey Jordan, who was with us last year from Aldershot, who was a full-time club, when he came here and said to us that actually, considering we're only Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that we were more professional than they were at Aldershot, which is a massive pat on the back to the culture and the organisation that Pat and Joe bring and their staff and we all bring to the club. So we're not full-time. There's no plan to go full-time. That would absolutely be ludicrous for a club of this size with the cost that brings. But I think we have the quality on the field and off the field to be a real challenge this year. I really do. I'm confident in that, not just saying it.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a good season anyway. I'm buzzing for it. You're buzzing for it. I'm sure the Gosport fans are buzzing for it. And it all gets underway this Saturday against Frome. And Frome, I said it in the last question, I think they could be a good side. Well, that's the thing with promoted teams. You never really know what you're going to get from them. They could either be really good or they could be hit or miss. It's going to be one of those sorts of games. But you've obviously done your analysis on the team. And what can Gosport fans expect from this away team?
Well, I would imagine Frome will be, it's their first game back at this level. So I would, and they're coming away to, a team that was in last year's playoff. So no doubt they won't underestimate the challenge. But, I would imagine we're going to be in for one hell of a game. It's going to be their first game. They're coming to Gosport. They've probably got nothing to lose. We're probably the favourites on paper. We've got it all to play for and all to lose because we want to start well like we did last season. We want to make another challenge. So you could be in for one hell of a game.
Well, it should be really good. And finally, how important is it playing this first home game at home in front of all the Gosport fans? Surely that's going to be like having the 12th man on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I said last season and pre-season's been the same, where we really are well supported. The fans will probably never understand that the boost it gives everyone when Privet Park is rocking like it does sometimes when the fans are here in good number. Hopefully, what we finished with last season, both sort of crowd numbers will continue this season. Hopefully it'll be a nice day. Our facilities will be open. Yeah. First game at home, I don't think it matters who you get. You always want to be at home first day, and we've got that again this season. So we'll be really, really looking forward to seeing a big crowd and feeling that atmosphere. That's the reason a lot of us do it, is that that match day experience here is second to none. And I, for one, can't wait to see a packed Privet like we had at the end of last season.
Well, it should be really good. And we hope to see all you Gosport fans at Privet Park this Saturday. And Mark, I'm going to just finish this on this one question because I've seen a lot of people talk about it. We're all excited for the new season. And what game are you most looking forward to, home and away, this season?
That's a really good question. I think without any doubt, I will be looking forward to all of them because that's why I do it. I will be, particularly as someone that spent a lot of time watching Havant and Waterlooville, I will be looking forward to going to Havant and Waterlooville on Boxing Day for sure.
Well, I think that's going to be a really tasty clash. And obviously, come along to all the games, Gosport fans. And Mark, for the final words, can we get an up the borough?
Yeah, up the borough. Thanks,
And
James.
final words from me, up the borough.